Okay, Jeff, here's one.
This is Messa with Spin. The immersive Italian four-piece return with their fourth full length, and it's a heady, haunted one. Messa means mass, the liturgical kind, but this album is anything of a repetition of past rites. The spin swerves into uncharted, neon-lit back alleys of early 80s Gothic rock, but writing these guys off as just another goth rock band would be a rookie mistake of the highest order. Since forming in 2014, Massa has been churning out doom-laden, non-cookie cutter offerings that defy lazy genre tags, and they've done it all without a single lineup change. Their unique sound that they've dubbed Scarlet Doom still pulses through the record veins, but this time it's bleeding from new wounds. These 7 tracks are thick with emotional collapse, mantras, and madness as foretold by the Ouroboros on the album art, a snake hungrily devouring itself. 5 of the songs hover in the tightly wound 4 to 6 minute range, while 2 stretch into atmospheric fever dreams that clock in north of 8 minutes.
It's going to get wild when they break out the Ouroboros.
Ouroboros!
At Races was the first of many tracks to snare me in, with more hooks than a sewing machine shop. At just under 6 minutes, this one kicks hard, Messa's signature doom weight with an almost punk-like propulsion. Alberto Piccolo's guitars are a total 80s minor chord jangle fest, acting as the track's burbling touchstone, while the bass of Mark Stace adds that thick pogo bounce underneath. Rocco Tualdo's drums are tight and anxiety-ridden, eventually smoothing out for a few sticks come falling slowly tempo shifts. Sarah Bianchin's vocals walk a careful balance beam, each note a step toward melodic release in the chorus. She's a robust and subdued all at once, hovering like a spirit guide, spectral and soulful. There's an echo on her vocals, like she may be singing inside a mausoleum. The repeated line, waiting for me to run, is both a dare and a dread. And like most tracks on this album, just when you think you know where it's going, it slides away like candle wax. Here we melt into a cymbal shimmery section with guitar notes that fall like paint squiggles on a damp canvas. Soft jazz taps build a foggy mood while Sarah languidly laments again and again, "'Cause I'm cursed and I run." The guitar solo weeps in agreement with long, sighing notes. For the final 30 seconds, they kick it back into that cruising gear, even as the lyrics keep getting darker, heavy with the weight of being constantly watched, measured, judged. Every stare weighs on my severed head.
Immolation, a word that literally means to kill or offer as a sacrifice. So, yeah, I wasn't exactly expecting a bubblegum pogo. But instead of diving straight into doom, Messa pulls a bold left turn. It's as if someone lit a candelabra, sat down at a baby grand, and started to gently tinkle the ivories in a smoky back room of emotional ruin. Sarah Byachin slips carefully into jazz torch singer mode, delivering each line with aching restraint. Which part of me will I sacrifice today? Will I try to forget the dagger you gave me tonight? The track lingers in the smoky lounge noir space for a few hypnotic minutes. Then suddenly, a guitar squeals rapid fire notes like someone ripping open a wound, and the drums roll in low and slow like thunder rumbling on the far side of a storm. Let's play a clip. This is Immolation.
Which part of me?
At 8 minutes and 14 seconds, the dress has plenty of room to wander, and spoiler alert, it does. The lyrics speak of self dislocation and identity collapse. "I'm trapped like a wasp in a beer glass" is an instant grab image, claustrophobic and doomed. It begins with wounded guitar riffs striking again and again, sinking with stick falls and a deliberate percussive deluge. The bass creeps in with a reverberant crawl. Quick descending synth notes bob up, popping in and out of the track's bloodstream like flashbacks. As the track unfolds, Sarah Bianchin extends the ends of the lines like she's clinging to it. Long songbird phrasings. The guitar is quiet into wavery, tranquil tones. The tempo ebbs and flows like a tide. Her swan-smooth vocals become layered with a phantom coos, becoming increasingly unglued. Meanwhile, the guitar slows and drips with ominous emotion, and just as the whole track begins to hollow out, a saxophone sinks in, of course, drawing long, tinny lines. A jazzy guitar blurps in. Blorp, blorp, blorp. And for a brief second, you half expect a lounge lizard in a crushed velvet blazer to slide into frame. Then, like a spell breaking, tight drums and stabby synths start racing each other to the edge. The whole track spins into a shimmering, chaotic swirl until it's stopped dead in its tracks by a drop the pick guitar solo in a raw, exposed moment.
I feel like I have to mention Reveal, not just because it rips, but because it gives Sarah a chance to grab a drink. The first minute or so is vocals free, and once again, what a ride it is. It opens with can only be described as a honky tonk, sawdust on the floor slide guitar, spiked with pedal power for extra sauce. You think you're settling into some dusty saloon groove, but nope, before long, that guitar evolves into an unsteady, warbling flight that gets pummeled by waves of blast beats. Yes, you heard that right. On paper, it shouldn't work, but somehow it just dunks its way straight into your cerebellum. This first mode alternates with a second groove where the drums drop to a simmer boil and lock into a grind with tightly riffed guitar and throbalicious bass of sod. When Sarah finally slides in, she's in echoey Grace Slick flatline mode, dropping plenty of yeah yeahs that feel hypnotic. Also of note, the absolutely funked out guitar solo near the end. Now how much would you pay?
I think my favorite tracks here are a tie between the aforementioned At Races and the equally mesmerizing Fire on the Roof. Messa's gothic doom sensibilities are still intact, but here there's a sharper post-punk pulse smoldering under the ash. The track kicks off with a low racing synth throb that immediately builds a sense of foreboding. Even when it fades into the background, it's still there, an ominous echo. Piccolo's guitar lines mirror Sarah's push-pull melody, each weaving around the other. The chorus is burst open as the drums leap to life, a movable force when locked in with that swashbuckling, swagger-soaked bass. The repeated line, "Fire on the Roof," becomes a mantra, a warning siren for imminent implosion. And oh, that bridge breakdown. Guttural bass growls, guitar wails, slamming drums, a rim tang, clang, top coat. Another knock your socks off moment. If they're even still on at this point. I mean, really. It comes in the form of a rangy, blistering guitar solo from Piccolo, with Sarah hovering above it all, floating dove-like coos as if from another realm.
Sarah said for the making of this album, we applied a simple rule. If you hear the same thing twice, it's enough. 3 times, it gets boring. Well, if anyone got bored during this, I sincerely doubt you have a pulse. The Spin is a high-stakes shapeshifter and easily one of the most compelling releases of the year. They don't cosplay with the 80s, they disassemble it, drag it through some always weird Venetian moonlight, and reassemble it with Killing Joke vibes into something beautifully grotesque and unmistakably them. For fans of Chelsea Wolfe's shadowy elegance, Dead Can Dance mysticism, Emma Ruth Rundle's emotional wreckage, this one's a Spin requirement. Let's play a song. This is At Races.
This is the Snaggletooth Rock and Roll Podcast.